Hi guys, welcome to week 9. We're going to be continuing our work with research, and this week we're going to be working with Tiffany. She's going to help us navigate the databases through the CNM library. She's going to help us hone our key terms and our research questions. So if you can, please come to the Tuesday, that's tomorrow, at this recording anyway, the Tuesday weekly workshop if you can, and bring your questions, your key terms, things that interest you, and with Tiffany's help, maybe we can explore a few of those topics during that workshop. Tiffany is also available, and I strongly urge you to work with her. She is available to work with you one-on-one. You get 10 points for working with Tiffany at some point in the term, and this would be a good time to do that. You get those 10 points, you get some pointers, and you'll come away with some good sources. You'll also become more comfortable navigating the databases, and that's really what we're after here. We want to learn how to use these research skills, not just in this class, but beyond this class, right? So you're getting smart here, and when you go off and do your research for your sociology or psychology or economics or history or whatever, you will have better skills to employ. So let's get those skills working for us now. All right, let's look at the overview here. This week, as I said, we're going to be diving into the databases. You're also going to get a quiz on coordination and subordination. You'll understand more about that shortly. You already know some of this intuitively if you don't know the grammatical terms, so don't freak out. It's all good. We're going to, as I say, use the databases for research, but we're also going to be using the sources we find and learning how to cite them and quote them, paraphrase them, and so on. So let's move forward here. Come in. Open, open, open. Alrighty, so your assignments this week. Your discussion is a little more complex than usual. It's not just an easy peasy discussion. It's going to take a little more effort, but you're going to be talking about what you found in the databases, what your search questions are, and asking for help and guidance from your peers. You are also going to give help and guidance, so dive in a little bit with that. As I mentioned, you've got this subordination and coordination quiz. It's only 5 questions, only 5 points, but it's really, really good practice. This is the they say, I say assignment. You got a little heads up about that last week or the week before. I'm going to explain that to you in greater detail, not just in this video. I'm going to give you the overview in this video, but in today's workshop, we're going to go through it in greater detail. Today is Monday, that is, at 3 o'clock in our Zoom room, if you can join us. If not, I will record. Moving forward. Readings and resources. You should have already given these a little read through, these chapters in your OER, but they're so foundational to what we're doing that coming back to them is a good idea. Referencing reference material more than once, that's why it's called reference material, is really useful. And in chapter 31, you'll notice that we have links to the CNM libraries, a little tutorial about how to use the library, and an English subject guide that'll help you with the craft test and other things, and then an online chat function so that if you can't meet with Tiffany, you can meet with another librarian and use that chat function. So fear not. You're going to learn how to find textbooks, look up DVDs, stream videos. Yeah, you can stream videos. All kinds of good stuff. You can look up the research process, how to use the catalog search, the database search, and of course, even if you're getting work from the library, you still put it through the craft test. That's what we do with everything. Everything. Alrighty, so we're also going to learn the difference between primary texts and primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources are the ones where you go right to the source. It's the first of its kind. Interviews are primary sources, and you can perform interviews for your research if you so desire. That would be you generating questions yourself and asking them for the first time, just like Oprah did with Meghan and Harry last night. She asked questions that had not been asked in that way before and received answers that have not been given in that way before. That's primary research. But you could also go to historical documents like the first Declaration of Independence, the original document. That is the original. Secondary sources make sense of the original sources. So they may be magazine articles or biographical books or literary or scientific reviews or television documentaries or scholarly articles that take primary information and make sense of it in a new way and put it through some sort of, processing. And you are going to be providing to your readers a secondary source because you are gathering information from other sources, putting it together in a report and delivering it in a new way. You are providing a secondary source. So there's more here. Here's some information about conjunction and coordination. Conjunction and coordination are ways of combining phrases in sentences. Coordination takes two equally valid and equal weight sentences that can stand alone as sentences and puts them together with a conjunction, like a fanboy, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. You always use a comma before the conjunction. So the cat saw the dog, comma, and the dog saw the cat, period. That's equal value. Subordination is when one phrase is dependent on the other. After the cat saw the dog, comma, the dog saw the cat. You can see that after the cat saw the dog, I forget which is which, but that cannot stand by itself. It modifies or introduces the main sentence. That's subordination. Now you've known all this forever and ever and ever, but we're just going to learn how to distinguish those two elements, two types of sentences, and notice where the commas go and how you do it. And so you're going to do a little research here. Not much. This is a handout. Here's a video. Easy peasy. I say that to you. It's only 5 questions. You can take it as many times as you like and just get comfortable. All right, your discussion, as I said, is a little more involved. So this week, after you've watched the video or attended the workshop, summarize your research topic in your first discussion post. Say why this topic is of interest to you and how it might interest a larger audience. You're no longer writing for you. You are now gathering information that serves others. So instead of a personal narrative where it's about expression, your purpose now is to inform. You are giving a gift of your research and your processes to a readership that might be interested and benefit from the information you gather. So with that in mind, how does your topic not only interest you, but interest others? And do your best to boil down your topic down to a focused research question. For example, how does listening to music affect patients with dementia? That could be a research question, and that can have sub-questions that support that major question, like how does it benefit memory? How does it benefit physical health? How does it benefit emotional health? How does it benefit caregiver and patient relationships? All of that fits under that bigger umbrella of that focused question. You see, I'm doing this quickly, but I hope you get the idea. Then you're going to, after you've done a little research, done a little poking around on the databases, and you've maybe found a source or two, you're going to reflect about what it's like. How is it different from a regular Google search or an internet search? Notice the similarities and differences. Which of the platforms yield the most accurate, helpful, and reliable results? Keep that in mind, the reliability. Which of the C&M library databases did you use to find the information? And there are boatloads of databases, so be prepared to answer that question. And what challenges, if any, did you confront navigating the databases? And heads up, there are challenges, so let's talk about them. And then if you find a good source, copy and paste, actually find a source, copy and paste it, the citation into, sorry about my pop-ups, into your post. Now, what's cool about that is the databases actually have a little tool for citation, and you can choose an MLA style works cited citation from the menu. Tiffany's going to show you how to do that. So don't freak out. It's not going to be terribly daunting to find a citation. All right, here's where it's going to get interesting. Please read over this introduction. This is the Introduction to Research They Say, I Say projects 1 and 2. There are 2 of these. You're doing this one this week based on your popular source, the one that you annotated last week that you've found in your in your concept mapping, and you've put it through the CRAP test, annotated it, and uploaded it last week. Yeah? Same source. You're going to go in there again and annotate a little bit more. but that's going to be the source you're working with this week. And the annotated, or the they say, I say assignments include the annotated source and your evaluation of it, and you've done most of that work already. But we're going to practice quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing material from the source using MLA style in-text citation. So go back to your chapter on in-text citation. That's going to help, but the model will also help you. You're going to create a works cited citation for the source if you want to use the OWL at Purdue citation tool that you used last week. Same thing. We're just going to be using that here. All of that, you've done some of that heavy lifting already. The bigger deal is you're going to write a paragraph in which you draw from what the source says and respond with your own original thinking using template material from this here Daily Whopper. So let me show you. I'm going to open this baby up. And by the way, there's a model of how a student has done this work before. So you can see how it's been done. All right, let's make this a little bigger. So this gives you an overview. Again, you've already annotated, and this gives you an overview of why you annotate. So you're going to include so you've done this. You're going to upload the annotated source. Give me a link to it. It can be the Scribble link, the permalink you uploaded before. If you annotate it in MS Word or in Google Docs, upload it in some fashion. You're going to give us a works cited entry for the source. You practiced that last week. You can give us that. Then you're going to write a one-sentence summary of the main idea. Now, the summary is condensing the big idea into a sentence, maybe two, but you have to introduce the source. So here's an example. In the report, Raising Backyard Chickens, title of the source, writer, Meredith LaRue, details guidelines and care instructions for starting a chicken coop. And here is one, which gives you a page number, because it's a one-page source. But if you just did an overview of the source, you would say, in his book, Green Eggs and Ham, Dr. Seuss writes that, I don't remember Green Eggs and Ham, but you get the idea. Okay. Paraphrase is to take a sentence or two from the source and put it in your own words, but this is really important, also into your own phrasing. You don't use the same sentence structure. It's not like you take their sentence and plug in random synonyms, which are words that mean the same thing. You rearrange the passage. So in your annotation, go in there and say, I'm highlighting this passage. I'm paraphrasing this passage so that I can find the original and see how differently you rephrased it. So this is an example of a paraphrase. Now you'll notice a paraphrase does not use quotation marks because it doesn't use the exact wording from the source. The quote down here uses the exact wording from the source. LaRue comments, notice the signal verb is in the present tense, that owning chickens, quote, is a rewarding practice and lifestyle to get involved in, but takes time, patience, dedication, and responsibility. Page number, period. Yeah, we don't say page, we don't do anything, we just say number. Because we've used the author's name here, we don't need to include it here. We'll go more into all that good stuff later. Here is a handout about quoting, summarizing, and paraphrasing. Here are some chapters that might help you out from the OER that'll help you think about this. Now here's where it gets interesting. You're going to respond to the text using some key signal phrases and responding. So here are some template guidelines. So-and-so acknowledges that, X agrees that, X argues that, X believes that, and so on. That's a very standard way of introducing what the author says. Standard views. Americans today tend to believe that SpaghettiOs are a tasty meal. Introducing ongoing debate. In discussion of SpaghettiOs, one controversial issue has been nutritional value. On one hand, SpaghettiOs includes tomato sauce. So-and-so argues that tomatoes are nutritious. On the other hand, the Department of Health opposes this argument because they believe that SpaghettiOs contains too much sugar. And my own view is, as a side dish, SpaghettiOs are harmless as long as it's served with fruits and vegetables. See, I just made that up on the spot, but you see what I'm doing? So play with that. There are different ways to go about this, using a quotation, according to, in his book, and so on. Now, your job is to respond. You can use any of these templates to present information from your sources. You can paraphrase, quote, or summarize. You can use these signal verbs and so on. Just read through this. We're going to go over it in greater detail in our workshop, but you will also see that here is a sample they say, I say assignment done by a student. So you might want to take a closer look at that to get a better idea of how it's done. Now you're doing this, as I say, using the source you annotated last week, the source that you drew from your concept map. It is a popular source, one you can find through a regular Google or other search engine search. We're doing that with a popular source first. Next week, we're going to do the same thing using one of the sources you find this week from the database. Yes, you'll annotate it. Yes, you'll put it through the crop test. Yes, you will identify what you're going to quote, paraphrase, and summarize. Yes, you're going to have a works cited citation for it, and you're going to practice in-text citation. This week will prepare you for next week. Each of these is worth 50 points. The good news is what you do these weeks will be pre-writing for the essay you're going to be doing in the next unit. Everything we do now is in support of the informational report for the next unit. So think about that you're doing some of that heavy lifting even now. I hope that helps. Alrighty, so that's what we got going on this week. This is the actual assignment. There is the link again to the assignment and the sample. Make sure that you've covered all of these pieces parts. Make sure that you have a summary, quotation, and paraphrase, 3 types of things here and these units here. And there you go. Here's your quiz about coordination and subordination and an overview of the informational report so you have a heads up what's coming. So you know why you're doing this research. It's in service of your informational report. Next week, we're going to get busy with that actual writing process. So I hope you find a couple of sources this week that you might find useful to use in your informational report. Searching for sources is not a one and done thing. It's reiterative, which means we come back to it. We look at our sources, find a couple that we think might be useful, decide if they are, or maybe the sources they use may be useful. We're going to talk more about that as we in our workshops. Alrighty, I hope that's cool with you, and I look forward to seeing you in our workshops or seeing your work. Take care.